Today's video is going to be horrible. What's new, pussycat? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma Cownley. I'm a freelance copywriter and blogger, and today for my Halloween special I thought that we would look at my client horror stories and what you can learn from them. I'm going to preface this by saying that I don't like to generally be negative on my channel. I don't like to shit talk. I don't like to make a habit of shit talking people or kind of, spilling tea or just trashing ex-clients. It's not what I'm about. It's not my vibe. I know I'm a spicy female, but I don't generally like to peddle negativity. It's, she don't like it. She don't do it. However, I think that there are some positive insights that you can take from this. For example, if you happen to see any of these red flags in your own freelance experiences, maybe you'll think,
holy fuck, that happened to Cownley.
Or maybe you feel crappy because you've had a recent bad experience and you just want to see somebody. I know it sounds awful, but it always makes me feel better when I know that it's not just me that's having a crappy time or has made errors in judgment or worked with people or made mistakes on jobs. I feel like trash every time, and when someone says, oh, don't worry, I did that too, I think, oh fuck, I'm not a complete and utter failure. These are real mistakes that happen. So I'm going to talk through, I think it's three different stories that happened to me and what the warning flags were for your benefit. Before I get into it, I would like to remind you to give this video a thumbs up if you find yourself at any point enjoying it. And if you are a regular visitor to this channel and you aren't subscribed, what are you playing at? Consider it the treat that you give to me on Halloween. Don't be playing any tricks by watching my videos and not subscribing. This makes me really sad. And without further ado, let's get into my client horror stories. First client was one that was referred to me by a good freelance friend. Ordinarily, I would have automatically twigged that this person was not a good client. But because a good friend had referred the work to me, didn't want to let that person down, and also I thought, well, if they've referred it, it must be legit, must be good, I trust this person, right? I should have told this client from the jump that they did not have enough information for me to do the job. It was a naming job. They had a startup business and they wanted a really cool, catchy name for it, which is fine. I've done those jobs before. They are notoriously tricky. It's a punchy job and it's difficult to do. So you need a lot of research, a lot of information to do a naming job. And this client simply did not have any of that. Not only did they not actually have a product yet, they had absolutely no customer research, no research whatsoever. It was one of these, our target is millennials type thing. And when I asked for more research, they sent me an infographic that they'd found somewhere else, which told me nothing. It should have been a warning flag. Luckily, I used a writer's agreement in this example, and I did manage to come away at the end of it with some money for the work I'd done, but I did spend a good chunk of time on this task, submitted everything, and went away for a long weekend on holiday for my husband's birthday. This particular client liked to WhatsApp me, and I never WhatsApp clients. I'm using WhatsApp for my own personal use, so I can't help but see those messages, and they sit there and they gnaw away at me. I turn off my email notifications on my phone because I don't want to see work out of hours. I need to disconnect. I need to only be looking at my emails during working hours, and notifications really get me. So this WhatsApp thing was not disco. The client WhatsApps me on a Saturday afternoon while I'm on holiday, really not happy with the job. I had come up with something that the client really did like, but the associated URL was dollar bills, y'all. And client wasn't happy. So I spent the entire rest of my holiday fretting, worrying, sick to my stomach over what I was going to do, what am I going to say, how am I going to resolve this, ruined the holiday, made me completely doubt myself, when in reality I knew when I started the job I did not have what I needed to do the work, and I took it on anyway, like an idiot. So really the blame comes on me, because as a freelancer who is experienced in this area of writing and branding, I need to stand up and tell the client, you don't have experience here, but I do, and I'm telling you this is what you need. You're not ready for this yet. You need all these other things before you can start doing this stuff. You need to go away and do more. Don't spend money on this or time on this right now. You need a whole lot of other shit before you come back. I should have educated that person, and I didn't. So, spaghettios. So the warning flags here, what can we learn? Well, if the client doesn't have what you need to get the job done, you can't, in good faith, take that job on. How can you target the customer with perfectly tailored copy that really narrows in on exactly what their pain points are and how the product solves them, and talk to them in their own language and really connect with them and make them feel like they need to buy this? You can't do that if you don't know who they are and you don't know what the fucking product is. It's impossible. It's like trying to shoot a fly with a bazooka, wearing a blindfold, riding backwards on a horse with your hands tied up and a carrot in your mouth. I don't know what that example was. End of the day, if you find yourself in a similar position, the best thing to do is turn the job down and explain to the client why you're not able to start it at this time. Say, hey, look, these are the things you need before you start a writing job. Maybe when you have those, come back to me and we can start to work together again. But I don't see that myself or anyone else would be able to take this job at this very, very early stage. You need more stuff. So this next one is pretty juicy. I've spoken about it before a couple of times, or touched on it a couple of times in previous videos, and that is a client that I had who had managed to foster the most incredibly toxic workplace I've ever had the unprivilege of being in. So this particular client, I had a long history with them. I knew them personally. I'd worked with them before, and when they invited me to come on board, I said, yeah, for sure, I'd love to. You know, it was a sector I was interested in and I do enjoy. I loved the people in their company. They had such a great team together. I really enjoyed. The physical office was beautiful. They had loads of really cute perks that they gave out to people that worked with them. The paycheck was freaking sick. The only problem is that some of the higher level executives in the business were very unprofessional indeed. I was in a meeting with them at one point where someone external had come in to help with a project, and I was in there and I witnessed firsthand one of these execs popping off in the worst way at this person, blazing, shouting, swearing. To the credit of the person that had come in, they handled it incredibly well, incredibly professionally. I would have gone to pieces. I probably would have cried if it were me. And I came out of that meeting just feeling horrible, awful. They had me redo the same project 4 times, not anything that I had done, but because they themselves couldn't decide how to articulate the business proposition, and they had no concrete documents which had anything in, because they wanted to be able to change their mind whenever they felt like it, which was quite concerning. There were also a number of discussions in they invited me to social occasions, which is wonderful. I was really thrilled. As a freelancer, obviously, I don't get to do a lot of work activities, and I was really pleased to get invited to some of these. However, in most cases, it was used as an excuse to begin conversations about how women with tattoos are really unattractive.
Don't you think they're unattractive, women with tattoos? It's very masculine, isn't it? Makes the skin look dirty, don't you think? It's not nice. I've never seen an attractive woman with tattoos. Have you?
It would have annoyed me on a normal day, yeah, for sure. But you know, it's all personal opinion. I can kind of choose to see that as a general statement rather than targeted at me. But oh no, it carries on. They then like to talk about how they've never seen a woman with short hair who was attractive.
There's never been an attractive woman with short hair, in my opinion. What do you think about short hair on a woman? Masculine, isn't it? Not attractive. A woman should have long hair. It's feminine. That's what a woman looks like. Lovely long hair.
It was a poorly disguised attack on my appearance. They desperately wanted me to know that I did not fit the feminine ideal that they had in their heads, but I really could not at that point, or even to this day, force myself to give a shit. So when I sat back and really looked at it, yes, this was an incredibly, incredibly lucrative client. I adored their team to pieces. I loved the office. The sector was great. It ticked every single box, apart from that senior management being awful. What are the warning flags here? The culture and the vibe of an office is a huge, 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 huge teller for whether or not the client is right for you. So always check your vibe. If you're the kind of person that can deal with that shit, you don't care. If the paycheck's good, you're going to get on with it because you're here to make bank, then that's entirely up to you. 100% do what you want to do. But me, for myself, I'm a sensitive soul. I absorb every emotion that I see, even if it's not directed at me or I'm not involved. That's my emotion now because I've fucking seen it. So it's not for me. Cownley out. Client number Trez is non-paying client. I've done an entire video on this story. I did a story time on it because I thought it was really useful to have a video on what to do if someone doesn't pay or if they ghost and you have to go to debt collection. It's really horrible, ugly. It's horrific. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing. So I'm just going to touch lightly on it here, but I will link it below and in the top corner for you. If you really do want to go away and wade through all my trauma, you can do that. Essentially, I worked with someone that I thought I was friends with and had a really great relationship with, and steadily they became later and later and later at paying me, and worse and worse and worse at communicating with me about what they needed and when they were going to book me and stuff. And eventually I was just like, this work isn't interesting enough for me to take this amount of shit. I'm off ski. Here's all the backdated invoices that still need to be paid. A year goes by. Some of these are like, it was a significant amount of money that was owed, and started to get nervous, kept chasing. This person was struggling with cash flow because they were a startup. So I was being really understanding about it, perhaps too understanding, because yes, as I say, it got to the point where it was over a year and these were still outstanding. And one of my freelance pals slapped me in the face, metaphorically, and said, if I was owed this amount of money, I would not be able to sleep at night. And I was like, shit, bitch, I'm gonna have to get nasty. Long story short, eventually got it because the client contacted me, apologised when they finally had the money. They paid it all up front. We left things on pretty good terms, as good a terms as you can. I think that this person was just worried that they'd let me down, which they did, but they did. To be fair, it could have gone very, very, very wrong. I got incredibly lucky in that situation. So let's look at the red flags in this horror story so you can make sure that shit does not happen to you. I'm going to say my rule of thumb after that client, if someone is late on 2 invoices, Emma doesn't work anymore. Okay, I say, that's great that you've got all this extra work, love to get started on it. However, you're late on 2 invoices and I'm not going to do any more work until I've got that. Because the problem I had is I continued to work and get myself further and further and further, get them further in debt with me, because I didn't stand firm and say, no, you've not paid. You're not getting any more work until I get paid, and then we can carry on. So general rule of thumb now is 2 invoices. And if they're shit at paying those, I bounce. I'm not working with anyone that doesn't want to pay me, because I'm a business. And bitch better have my money. So that brings us to the end of the video. I hope that you could take something useful from my personal horror stories, or at least enjoyed me indulging in a bit of a bitch fest. Because I think maybe at Halloween we all need to get a little bit ugly. You know what I mean? If you've had any similar experiences or you wanted to weigh in on whatever happened to me, leave a comment below or find me on social media at EJ Cownley. I really want to hear, you know, what's happened to you, maybe. Make me feel a little bit better. Share a story. And yeah, you can find me back here, same time, same place in 2 weeks for more Kiss My A's. Enjoy your Halloween, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.